you have 5 holes in your ceiling, um, a 16 by 12 room, and you're thinking of getting a Denon amp. Can you advise the best setup for the use? If you've got 5 holes in your ceiling, I'm assuming those were there because ceiling speakers are more visually appealing than ear height speakers. Because there are a few different protocols. There is stereo, there's mono. You know, mono would be 1 speaker, stereo would be 2 speakers. And then we jump ahead to 5, and when there are 5 speakers, that's usually a 5.1 Dolby system, which would mean there are a left, center, right speaker, and then there's a rear right and a rear left speaker. And then there's also a sub, 5.1. 5 ear level speakers, 0.1 sub. Or actually not sub, it's an LFE. So I would not recommend well, if you want to keep your speakers exactly as they are, probably the best protocol for that is 5.1. You would get a subwoofer that would go on the floor or something, and then you would fill in those holes with speakers, and those would be your left, right, center, and then your rears. If you wanted to hear my advice would be to move those down to ear level because that's how they were intended. And then those holes in your speakers, maybe those could be used for height speakers for like a Dolby Atmos or some other immersive system where now it's not just a LFE sub and ear level speakers, but you've got height speakers in an immersive system. So if you want to not just patch in the holes and move the speakers to ear level, you might repurpose some of those holes, maybe the right, left, and the rear right and rear left to immersive. However, chances are those aren't really in the right spot for that. So if you want to use the holes as they are, where they are, I would put the 5 speakers in there and get a Denon that is capable of 5.1. It's got 5 outputs and a sub output for an LFE. And then, yeah, just make sure that whatever signal is going into the Denon receiver and amplifier is itself carrying all of those different channels. Because if you use, RCA left and right into the system, and then you output it to 5.1 different speakers, you're not going to get actually the mix as it was intended. You need to use either an HDMI cable, a optical Toslink connection, or some other connection that is able to carry those discrete channels from the Blu-ray or whatever you're listening to each of those different speakers. So hopefully that's a good, helpful answer for you.